Welcome to Education Wave Success Made Easy Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. In this video, we are going to learn the topic female gametophyte. So, this here is the female part of the flower, which consists of the stigma, the top surface, and the style, this elongated part, and this swollen part is the ovary. They all together form pistil, okay, and which is also known as the carpel. Now, each pistil has three parts: style, stigma, ovary. Now, this stigma is a landing platform for pollen grains. So, for example, this is my stigma. The pollen grains will land here, but only the compatible one will be allowed. Okay, so the compatible one will be allowed, or the male gametes of the compatible one will go inside through the pollen tube formation. This pollen tube formation will only occur when the stigma allows the pollen grain. Okay, so the stigma is acting as you could also say that the stigma will only allow the compatible pollen to form the pollen tube, and along this pollen tube, with the help of this pollen tube, these male gametes will enter inside the ovary. Okay, and then they will fuse with the ovule cell. Okay, egg cell, or you could say. So, this style is the elongated cylinder part beneath the stigma. The basal bust part of the pistil is the ovary, and inside the ovary is the ovarian cavity. So now all you need to know about this ovule structure is that this is our ovary, and it sometimes has one ovule, or sometimes it has so many. For example, in papaya you see there are lots of seeds, but in mango you will only see one seed. Okay, so the cases have been seen like in watermelon, papaya having so many seeds, so many ovules. So it has so many ovules. But if we zoom inside this ovule, the structure of the ovules looks like this. Okay, so inside this ovule, there are cells: egg cell, some are synergid cell, there is a central cell, an antipodal cell. So this whole ovule structure looks like this. Okay, and though the male gametes which come inside through the pollen tube, they fuse with there are two male gametes, right? There are two male gametes. One male gamete fuses with this egg cell, and the another one fuses with this central cell. Okay? And this central cell forms the endosperm. So, for example, for the formation of this whole fruit or this seed, they need some nutrition. So, this is the endosperm formation. And this one male gamete fuses with the egg cell, and here the zygote formation occurs. Okay. Now, let's see the whole ovule structure. This ovule is also known as megasporangium because, in comparison to the microsporangium, or we could say the male gametes, in comparison to that, they are bigger in size. That's why the structure is known as megasporangium. Now, this ovule structure has so many parts. Okay, now for example, this is my ovary, and inside this structure, this circular structure, it is the same one, this one. This is a mass of cell. This mass of cell is called nucellus. Okay, and this nucellus, one cell of this nucellus, there are lots of cells. Okay, and these cells, one of the cell will form these ovule. Okay, which is this nucellus part is very important. Okay, the cells of the nucellus have abundant reserve food material. Now one of the cell will form the whole this structure, whole ovule structure of having egg cell to synergid cell, but the remaining part will act as the food reserve. Okay, now as this part is very important because it is going to develop or form the ovule. Okay, so this part has so many protective layers around it. So you could see that this is the one layer. It also has another layer. The two layers you could see. Some have one layer and sometimes they have two or many layers of integuments. These layers are called integuments. Okay, so encircle the nucellus except at the tip. So on close observation, you could see that at some point this layer is not forming, right? There is a portion where this layer is absent. So except at the point where this is absent, that point is known as micropyle. This pile means the gate. It is a Greek word which means gate. What is this gate thing? Now, I told you that this pollen grains they form the pollen tube. Okay, this pollen tube will come and it will reach here. Okay, so this tip is acting as a gateway so that the male gametes inside the pollen tube could enter inside. Otherwise, they have this protective layer all around the nucellus. But there is a portion, there is a gate through which this pollen tube enters inside or the male gametes enter inside. Okay. Now, this point is called micropylar end. Okay, so this micropyle, this gate thing, so you will never forget that why this micropylar name, because the pile means gate and this is where this protection or the layer is absent so that these male gametes could enter inside. And the exact opposite, the area which is the extreme exact opposite of the micropylar is the chaliza end. Okay, so this end is the micropylar end and this one is the chaliza end. Now you will see that, for example, this is my ovary and inside this has a nucellus mass. But this nucellus mass is not floating inside the ovary. It is attached to the point somewhere and that point is placenta. So this whole part is attached with the stalk, which is known as funicle, and the portion where it is attached is called placenta. Okay, and the portion where this nucellus mass and the stalk is attached is the point known as hilum. So it is a point of attachment of the body of the soul ovule with the stalk. Okay, and this is a stalk called funicle and this is our placenta. So this is the whole ovule structure looks like. Okay, now this structure is the same as this one. Now you could see that this funicle is down here, but you could see the structure same. Okay, and the portion where the integument is absent is micropyle. The extreme opposite of that one is chaliza, and the mass of cells are nucellus, and they are having these layers called integuments. Now, this whole structure of ovule is embryo sac, egg cell inside it. Okay, so this is what the megasporangium structure looks like. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, comment, like.